Come on, go loud.
That was a really quick stopping of the laughter and clapping, but we're gonna change it imminently, right? I actually hate talking about myself and I prefer other people talking about me instead. Somebody recently called me tall, charismatic, but definitely not heterosexual. And let me break this down. I mean, tall, pretty obvious. I'm 193. I measured my legs. They're 1 meter 23 centimeters long. It really helps. It really helps to run away from my problems, mostly. And it really helped me throughout the COVID because, you know, COVID didn't transmit to people above 100 meter and 80 centimeters never get COVID. So height is helpful for health reasons as well. Moving on to being charismatic, in the spirit of Easter, I opened the readings and writings of St. Paul. And do we know what charisma actually stands for? So charisma is the gift from Holy Spirit to heal and inspire people. And that's what I do, whether I'm wearing clothes or I'm naked. I'm going around places and inspiring and healing. So there would be an opportunity for healing for £10 surcharge on the door. After the show, come and see me. And actually being not heterosexual, in fact I'm retired bisexual. Retired about 10 years ago, enjoying my retirement now. But a couple of straight couples looking very aesthetically pleasing to my eyes. So if I decide to unretire, throughout my set, none of you would be quite safe with me. And as tempting as it can feel to unpack my sexuality and kinks in front of a room of wonderful strangers, I prefer to telling the stories about how this tall, charismatic and not heterosexual person fits in this beautiful but very remote and cold British Isle called United Kingdom. So some of you, if you can read, I'm a lazy comedian, so I wear some t-shirts to replace the words in my set, so you can see that I'm Ukrainian. And you know, I was born under communism, so some of you can still see this thing called existential dread in my beautiful eyes. And when I was moving to the UK 15 years ago, I carefully packed all my post-communist trauma into very heavy suitcases. Literally took me ages to get to the airport, got there, checking in for my flights, and they're saying, you know what, you need to pay extra because you're moving to the country of flakes. Everything you say will offend indigenous population of United Kingdom. And believe it or not, my first job appraisal, my line manager called me borderline unpleasant. And the only unpleasant thing is, why borderline? I'm just unpleasant. And I'm just compensating that for him to be borderline incompetent. English is not my first language, and you know, sometimes we can get into troubles with words. And one early morning, after dancing some heavy industrial techno in East London, I was coming back and I was craving to procure myself breakfast. So I went to Waitrose, and you will be delighted to know they're letting Eastern Europeans in now. And for the life of me, I wanted to buy cereal, but I forgot the word, right? So I was like walking around shelves trying to find this bloody thing. And I gave up, and I went to the shop assistant and I said, would you be able to help me to find morning crisps? Kind of the look of terror, confusion. And I was like, yeah, morning crisps. I doubled down, of course, because I'm a stubborn Eastern European. And they were like, what are you on about? And I said, well, you take morning crisps and a milk and you make yourself breakfast. I still think that this is one of the highest levels of cultural integrations. There is some emotional response from the audience, no? No. I'm not gonna bite you. I might heal you. Definitely no biting, only healing tonight. I'm in a very healing mood, kind of. Also, some fans in the third row, I spotted you. We're gonna be friends after. And early on, working in British office, I realized this peculiar thing which doesn't really exist in Ukraine. You know, when you kind of come on Monday and people say, "How are you?" and you say something, they don't really follow up. And I kind of started like, I didn't know about the concept at the time, and I was like, are my colleagues weird or they just don't care about me? And I made a pact with myself on Sunday night. I said the first person who I will meet in the office will finally get to hear the whole story. So I'm walking into the office and bumping into lovely Jane, and Jane says, "Hey, how are you? How was your weekend?" And I say something. She tries to run away, but I gently convince. And I say, "Not so easy, Jane." So I'm holding her wrist, and I'm launching into my story. I'm saying, so I woke up, went for 5K run. Then on my way home, I picked up groceries. Then I showered. Then I went for a coffee with Steven from Hinge. Jane tried to establish eye contact with other people, but remember, my strong hand was gripping rather tightly. So I continued, I went to sex party, it was really fun, but at some point I got really tired and I needed to leave because, things happen. Needless to say, my wonderful audience, no one ever inquired how was my weekend afterwards. Yeah, small talk is a weird thing actually. Like, do we like in small talk or we want like full? Because in Eastern Europe we love to share all the feelings and who died and what happened and who broke up with whom. We love drama, emotional states, and it's so passionate. I wonder how people survive in the United Kingdom without that. Yeah, strange. But after living for 10 years here, I realized I would never look like a British person or never sound like one. But at least I can do paperwork, right? So I paid a lot of money to home office, did all the tests, attended ceremony to become British where somebody gave me COVID. What a warm welcome to British public. Literally had fever for 3 days. And the registrar kept telling us that we are, by becoming British, we commit to uphold British values, right? And I kept thinking, what does it actually look like upholding those values? Until the very moment when I was in a London bus from Brixton to Croydon, and there was a group of teenagers who were blasting the music without headphones. And I realized that's my moment to uphold those British values. So I stood up from my seat as an Eastern European, but then I remembered I'm British. So I immediately sat down and just rolled my beautiful eyes. Because quintessentially British is you can bitch and complain about other people in privacy and safety of your accommodation. You never do it in public. Yeah, and as I told you, or maybe I didn't, I'm 43, of course I look younger, young man, of course, I agree with you, of course I look 26, just like you, but when you kind of young, you don't really give a shit and things happen, but when you grow older, you kind of start to worry about things, and I worry about actually about AI replacing jobs, but not all the jobs. I'm worried about AI replacing hot doctors' jobs. Because at some point I had a chest pain and I went to Annie, and there was like a gorgeous junior cardiologist, rugby build, absolutely handy. And after he checked everything and cleared me for discharge, I kind of looked at him and I said, I'm so grateful that AI didn't replace you so you could physically examine my body. He looked weird. I found him on Instagram. I follow him, he doesn't follow me back. But me and Gareth will be together, I think. You have been absolutely gorgeous audience. Thank you for laughing and having fun with me. I have been Stormy Pasha. Have a great night.